Thank you, Danny, for inviting me.
So I'm intrigued to hear how your journey started. Have you always run your own business, or were you doing something else before?
I have had different business ventures, but so I've not always run my business, but I grew up with my dad as an entrepreneur and having his own businesses. And I remember when I was going to college, I thought I want to have my own business too. I just didn't know what it was going to be. So, but I started this business in 2017, the Get Speaking Gigs Now business that I have.
And what was your dad's business?
My dad had many, but his main love was a hypnotist. He was a hypnotherapist.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. But did he actually run his business at home?
There were times that he had his office at our house, and then there were times that he would have his office in other, in like more of an office building.
And how did that influence you?
I think doing what you love and being able to have freedom of time
Hmm.
and something about creating your own thing, I think is really attractive.
Did you always did you know you wanted to start your own business, or was it something that you sort of uh, segued? Was there something that happened in your life that shifted you in that direction?
I always, like I said, when I was deciding to go to college, the reason I chose the business major, which I did change later on, but I knew that I wanted to have my own business. I just didn't know what it was going to be. My degrees happen to be in speech communication, a bachelor's and master's degree. So it's not a shock that I ended up becoming a speaker, but I didn't start officially speaking until I was 40 years old. So there was a big gap in that time.
What happened in between?
Oh my gosh, how long is the show? Well, I did end up in education in the private sector. I started in admissions in college and universities, and in between there, I opened up a physical location of a day spa, which is completely different than anything else that I've ever done, and learned a lot there about having a storefront property. Um, Also during that time, my ex-husband, he was my husband at the time, we started a franchise. And so there was a lot of different things that occurred um,
Hmm.
that then led me to becoming a speaker.
And what was the event that shifted you towards doing what you're doing now?
I've always wanted to be a speaker, but I was I was a director of admissions at a university, and I got the opportunity to be a trainer, take a course in training, and it was for this personal development company that I really, really loved. I thought, oh, I know that I want to do something different, so I'm going to just take a risk and try this thing, and we'll see if it works. It was a really, really difficult program, or challenging, I should say. But at the end of it, they said, well, we are looking for somebody to hire. And I thought, oh, okay, that's great for somebody else. But ultimately, I ended up being one of those people that they hired. And I started speaking. My first year, I booked 83 speaking engagements in my local area. And I also
Wow.
started a speaker network 6 months later, 6 months into my journey. And people were always asking me for help. They were like, how did you get so many speaking engagements? Because I would speak that often. Like even today, I told you earlier, I have a speaking engagement right after this recording.
Hmm.
And they just wanted to know, how did I do that? So I started to get a lot of feedback that people needed help. And I started really documenting, what is it that I'm doing? What are the things? What are the strategies? How can I teach someone else to do this so that it works for their business?
So right. So starting your speaking business, do you work alone? Do you have a team?
I have a team. I have two virtual assistants who support me with my social media and all our email marketing and any other projects that we have behind the scenes. Other than that, I coach my own clients. Like I'm the one who works with the clients.
And I'm interested to know, how did you, obviously you grew your business through speaking, but how
Yes.
did you get all those, intrigued to know, how did you get all those speaking engagements?
Well, it's funny that your topic, your focus is partnership because I'm a huge fan of partnership, and it's something that I actually teach um, when I'm speaking and I teach my clients. And I think that's the easiest way to get speaking engagements is to actually partner with other people versus trying to do it all on your own.
Right, okay. So, and so So to get your speaking engagements, you leverage partners to do that?
Absolutely, 100%. I think it's the number one secret to a steady stream of speaking referrals is to partner up. And I even have a name for it. I call it find your speaker soulmate.
Your speaker soulmate. I love that. I love that. So how did you leverage speaker soulmates to find your speaking engagements? Tell us
So it
about it.
it happened organically. Because of my network, I would meet other speakers, and then I had already had a lot of training in referral marketing and referral networking, things like that. And so I would look for people who could be potential referral partners. And I ran across this one woman who we've now been referral partners for over 10 years. And she and I started referring speaking engagements specifically. And I thought, oh, this is working out really great for both of us because now we're exponentially growing our speaking engagements without having to do all the work. And I started bringing in other people who I knew would be great referral partners. And then I was like, wait, this is a thing. Like no one's doing this. They're just trying to refer for clients or business, but they're not really referring for speaking. And so the Speaker Soulmate system was born.
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell me a little bit about how the Speaker Soulmate system, how do you guide your clients on tell me a little bit about the system you teach your clients, the whole speaker
Yeah.
process.
So basically, I think like you want to search for three different things ideally in a speaker soulmate. One, do they speak at a similar frequency as you?
Mhm.
Like if you're kind of new and they're new, then you're more on an even ground.
Yeah,
If you're a paid keynote speaker, that's a different thing, so where you are on the speaking journey. And number two, somebody you know, like, and trust. I know that seems obvious, but you can learn to trust, you can grow trust really quickly if you're intentional about it, and you start to refer some easier things. And then as you develop the trust, then you can start referring more and bigger opportunities, right? So you just kind of build that over time. And if it's also important that you like this person because this is a close referral partner. So if you don't have the same work ethic or values or personality, like your personalities don't mesh, it's not really going to work out very well. It's not going to feel very good.
you want them to find the sort of the people that vibe with them or people that
Yeah,
vibe with you as well.
exactly. Like there's millions of people in the world. You don't need to like everybody. That's okay. But find the person that you know, like, and trust. And then the third thing is that they speak to a similar audience as you, but they don't speak about the same thing that you do because
Yeah,
that makes it easier to refer. Like if I was speaking at an event and then the next month I knew they needed a speaker, if I knew that you, Danny, spoke to the same type of audience as me, but had a different type of topic that would be helpful for that audience, it's going to be really easy for me to then go, hey, you should talk to my friend Danny.
mm,
Versus like if you spoke about the same exact thing as me, it's not that I couldn't refer you, it'd just be a little bit longer sales cycle.
got it, got it. And I guess the question might be is if I'm looking for a speaker buddy, but my buddy is someone who's already speaks at places, but I don't even have any places yet to speak at. Isn't that an imbalance?
Right. That's why I said you want to have someone who's at a similar frequency. Like
Right. Got it, got it. It's a little bit like joint venture partnerships that
it is.
if
Yeah,
I've got 5,000 people on my list, I might struggle to work with someone who's got 100,000 people on their list.
exactly. So you're kind of finding your I would say it doesn't have to be even Steven, but you're finding your tribe.
And are you able to graduate together to bigger things?
You can, yeah. So like I said, my one of my speaker soulmates, we've been working together for 10 years. So but between the two of us, we've been thousands of speaking engagements. And we started off at the beginning.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Tell me a little bit about how else is your speak that your sounds like your first step into partnerships was your speaker buddy. I'm interested to know how else you leverage partnerships as part of your business strategy.
Well, I think there's different things. I definitely believe in collaboration. That's a huge part of what I do. I have a network of speakers called International Speaker Network, where we literally will have activities in the group that encourage partnership. We have like a Find Your Speaker Soulmate activity. We'll have a posting party where everybody comes in and shares each other's posts and comments on each other's posts. So I'm really a big fan of like, it takes the village, and allow the village to serve and support you. A partnership doesn't mean you're shackled to, in my opinion, doesn't mean that you need to be shackled to
Or
somebody
marriage.
forever.
Partnership or marriage, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's like the willingness to put a lending hand out and to also receive a lending hand when it makes sense. I always say to my community, it's like you're all adults. Like if you don't want to partner with someone or you don't want to support someone, you got to decide what feels right for you. We're not we're not required to do this.
Yeah. I think the reason the soulmate phrase resonates with me, when people ask me what I do, I often say to people I'm a matchmaker, and I put soulmates together.
Beautiful.
And then I'm a therapist because I want to keep them there that way as well. So I facilitate the relationship after they've got together. But yeah, it's very much. I think the reason I like the word soulmate is because I think that in an emotional relationship, in a couple relationship, it's about mutually it's about giving to each other rather than being transact. For a relationship to work, there's got to be a mutual giving and not transactions.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset. Do you find that with the clients you work with, how easily do they adapt to that? Because there are a lot of people who come from a business environment. They've been brought up with a kind of very adversarial mindset of
I am
you do to
surprised
me.
that I have found that I'm surprised that it's a difficult concept for some people to grasp
Yeah.
or to believe that it works or to be willing to do it. And I think sometimes there's people who are, which is totally fair, we're all different, people who have more of an individual sport type of activity mindset, and then there's some team sport mindset, right? Where I like working with a team personally. I Yes, I can work by myself and I do a lot of things on my own, but to me it's very exciting when you bring other minds together, and I think everybody benefits. Some people, maybe they've been burned in the past and so they don't trust other people, or they maybe want to have control of everything so they don't want to
Yeah.
share or let go of the reins. It's okay, we all have our moments, but I think if people realize, wow, I could really increase my results if I partnered with other people. Wow, I'm telling this all the time to people. I'm like, you're making it too hard for yourself. You can make this so much easier if you just find a couple of key partners. It would make such a big difference.
Yeah. I like what you said about team player because I think that's key. I think some people they struggle with that mindset shift. They just see it as exactly this is about an individual. I'm an individual competing against other people, and I think particularly people struggle. I think when they come up with co-competitors, and I'm sure it sounds like you've described that very much in the speaking space. It sounds like a lot of the people who collaborate, a lot of your clients who collaborate, are co-competitors sometimes, right?
It can be. I don't think of speakers themselves as competitors. And so I do try to share like it. I think of it as like your best referral partners potentially, because if you're in a room full of speakers, like at the International Speaker Network, you're in a room full of speakers, virtual room, and you looked beyond what you could see. If each person has given, let's say, 10 or 100 or 1,000 talks, that means they have 10, 100, 1,000 keys that to doors that you want to get into. And if you develop relationships with them and develop trust, they just might hand you the keys like for free.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. I
such
mean,
an easy concept.
yeah. When I speak to partners, I'll say to them, well, it's great collaborating with you. Who else have you worked with that maybe I don't know that I'm not currently working with? You can introduce me to. So,
Beautiful.
and people always want to talk to you when the door's opened, as opposed to you approaching them cold. I'm interested to know. You mentioned about people getting their fingers burnt, and we've got an audience listening in here who maybe are thinking, I have skepticism about partnerships. I've been burnt. Have you been
Yeah.
burnt? Have
Oh,
you
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
thought about it?
Yeah, and there's people that I trusted that I've had people steal from me multiple times. I've had people don't follow through on what they say they're going to do. I've had people who didn't have the ethics that I thought they did, and that's what I mean by you got to develop that trust. So I'm not saying hand over the keys to the Ferrari, but maybe give them your skateboard, like to try out. So you do need to build the
incremental steps, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, what would you say then? That you got, there are people where you got burnt. Looking back, what do you think? What do you think you got wrong? And also people stealing from you. What do you think you got wrong that led that to happening?
I mean, humans are messy, right? And I part of me is a very trusting person, and I like that part of myself. But looking back on those, I'm like, okay, I can see where I didn't safeguard myself, or I didn't ask the certain amount of questions, or I was too trusting. So it's like, okay, when is too much trusting not good? And what can I do to circumvent that? Another thing that I learned about myself was I'm susceptible to flattery. Like if someone tells me, "Oh, you're so great, you're wonderful," whatever they compliment to me, I in the past without checking, I could be like, "Oh, okay, wow, they think I'm so great. I'm gonna do their thing." You know what I mean? And so now again, I'm a little more I'm aware. I'm a little older now, a little more aware of when I'm getting I don't know, I guess tricked.
Yeah. Yeah. They're right. Um, that's, I think, so what you're talking here, it's about, I think that it does come with experience. It's just doing that little bit more due diligence. And because there are people who are reputable, there are people who are dishonest, but I think it's just with experience, you notice things about people, right?
Yeah,
Um,
like the intuition. Yeah, the intuition kicks in.
Absolutely, your intuition kicks in. So for our listeners who are kind of thinking of, you know, taking their journey into partnerships, what would be your advice? Right, many of our listeners maybe have either dabbled and it's not worked so well for them, or they're taking their first steps. What would you suggest to them? What would be your recommendation for them to?
I guess I would say, like, what is it that you're trying to achieve, and what kind of partnership are you looking for, and how can that help you?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big topic. So narrowing down what is it that you're looking for, what kind of advisement do you need, or support do you need, or maybe what you're not good at. Can you find somebody else who's good at the thing that you're not good at, and you can partner that way?
yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Uh, for those listening to you, do you have a how can our listeners find out a bit more about you?
Oh, yes, I have some free tips on how to get more speaking gigs, and that's available at getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips. It's free for your listeners. And that's 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs now. And I'll repeat it again. It's getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It's been great to speak with you
Thank you.
today, and I really love that phrase about having a kind of a soulmate that you mentioned. It just really resonated.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Great. So it'll basically when I end the call, the recording will stop. That was perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Thank you.
It's not meant to be a very long pub
Yeah.
because it depends. Some of my guests have quite a few partnership experiences to talk about. But for most of my guests, there are kind of two or three big kind of takeaways, and we managed to usually cover that in a kind of 15-20 minute conversation.
That's perfect. No, thank you. I like the conversation and I appreciate you. I'm glad it worked out today.
Every guest I have has a particular angle. One has talked about partnership with his spouse. Another one has talked about podcast guesting, so
Oh,
partnering with
yeah.
partnering with your guests or the people you host. Another one's talked about how she partnered with a publisher. So every person has a unique angle, and I think your angle about getting speaking engagements by finding someone else who is in the speaking space and is at the same stage as you, I think is great. The
Thank you.
takeaway about the that I think I like what you said about uh, mindset because some people have a kind of have got a you've got to have a team player mindset, and I think that was a good thing for our listeners to hear. And there was something else as well. It's in the recording, but yeah, there's about three.
Mm.
I'm looking usually for three or four takeaways that our audience can can take. And yeah.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me on the show. And I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, hmm, mm, uh, if you need anything, let me know. If you need anything. Oh, I was going to say good luck on your launches.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That's why I'm slightly out of it today. It's just I've got basically because I know a lot of people are away in August, so kind of July is my crunch time to get as many partners as I can on board by the end of the month. So I usually I spend a lot of time in meetings, meeting people, but because I'm so close now to the launches, I've just been all day emailing hundreds of people to get their commitment to
Wow.
those launches. So I've got a database of like 600 plus people,
Oh, wow.
and each partner, yeah, I'm getting on board, trying to get on board about 40 to 50 partners for each of their events or launches. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Incredible. Well, I'm sending you lots of luck for that. And I'm going to head out to my next thing, but
Yeah, best of luck with the next event you're going into.
thank you. Thank you, Danny. Have a good one.
Take care. See you. Bye.
Bye.